We're Group 7 and I'm Allison. We're going to be talking about mental health illness and the homeless. In Canada, there is no agreed upon definition for homelessness. Some definitions include people without physical housing, those that are sleeping outdoors or in public shelters. People without protection from the weather, sanitation facilities, or personal safety. Absolute homelessness are people living in the streets in unfit conditions, abandoned buildings or cars. At risk for homelessness are people spending more than 50% of their income on housing. The hidden homeless are those people that are living with friends and family. In the 1800s, people with mental illness were placed in poorhouses or in prisons. 1900s, there were psychiatric institutions. By the 1960s, Canada began deinstitutionalization initiatives for the mentally ill, based on growing concerns for inhumane conditions. Studies showed that the long-term negative impacts of institutionalization. There were improved medications for the mentally ill disorders, which enabled people to function more independently. Today, community resources and adequate housing do not meet the increased demand for these people. People suffering with mental illness are more at risk for being homeless. Mental illness can worsen the consequence of being homeless, and conversely, homelessness can worsen the conditions of mental illness. People with mental illness who are homeless remain so longer and in worse conditions. Mental health disorders associated with homelessness but aren't limited to include depression, anxiety, bipolar disorders, schizophrenia, and post-traumatic stress disorder. This population is underserviced and marginalized. There is a lack of continuity and access to quality mental health care. These individuals often do not have health cards, cannot keep appointments, and do not take medication correctly. They are often have concurrent mental health disorders such as substance abuse, depression, and self-harm. Housing is a social determinant of mental health status. Mentally ill individuals have many challenges with housing. Financial insecurity and unstable employment make it difficult for them to pay rent. Mental illness itself is unpredictable with periodic periods of crises. There is discrimination and stigma in the workplace against the mentally ill. Landlords do not want to rent to people with mental illness. There are currently 25,000 housing units assigned for people living with mental illness. However, in the next 10 years, 100,000 units are needed. Traditionally, mentally ill individuals were required to demonstrate the ability to live independently. This was termed housing ready. Individuals were expected to be on a stable recovery path, free from substance abuse, in order to be eligible. The Housing First approach considers housing a basic human right. It must be in place for all individuals regardless of mental illness. Adequate housing is the first priority. It reduces the healthcare, social services, and criminal justice costs. Canada is using the Housing First approach at the provincial and municipal level. A strategy launched in 2007 which was community-based for the mentally health homeless partnering strategy. It focuses on decreasing homelessness by investing in supportive housing. In 2013, the federal government of Canada committed $119 million per year for a total of $600 million towards homelessness. The research demonstrated that the Housing One approach improves lives of those living with mental health illnesses and decreased overall public costs and demonstrates the decrease in hospital and patient care. Thank you.